Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case with an interesting point of view which could be shocking for some people. It's actually in regard to Brooke Bounds Carter's point of view and what she has experienced over the course of time within this case in the background. Maybe some people were made aware with time, but in terms of the general public and what they know of, this could well be, seen for the very first time. And basically what the theme is to do with harassment, threats, unnecessary language, and much more. True darkness showing, and the mysteries of who could be responsible behind it, regardless of the username, whether it's a human name or not. Is it really who they are, or is it a person acting on somebody else? Or is it a particular character within the community that's going around creating many alternative accounts, just like what we've experienced on YouTube in recent time? And, some people could say, why do we need to look at this exactly? And of Brooke Bounds Carter, of all people, when there are others in the community that have been harassed or attacked, even worse, if not by the dark side. Well, I'm going to go through it bit by bit, share with you my understanding, how I interpret it, react and analyze raw on the spot to the screenshots as well, and the shocking comments made too, because there is a process to it all, just like the case itself, whether someone's guilty or not, linked to the case or not. There's a way you go about stuff. I know very early on, Justin Impetuous Roy, or Justin lacking context, as other people would call them, Justina. Regardless of name, one thing does not change, and that's a yapping tone and jumping the gun. That's what Justin does, Jan Fiorillo 2.0. And the only comeback response Justin can say to me is, I am Brooke Bounds Carter 2.0. And if that's the case, looking at the ears, I don't see any big hooped earrings. Strawberry, do you have any? That could be borrowed, maybe, to get a bit closer. As to the hair, I wouldn't say it's long enough. But of course, what Justin is referring to is the attitude, the personality, and the behaviour, as in what I express or show is similar to BBC, which I wouldn't say so. And when I did ask Justin Roy for evidence to back that point up, Justin failed to do so and continued to be a broken record. And I only bring these points and observations up right now because I can explain very clearly for many hours long till the cows come home, and Justin will still find something to complain and whine about and still manage to lack that context and understanding, and then later finally make that concept known in one's head. Okay, I messed up. Apologies. I'm sorry, Warlight Graph. I'm so sorry for my behaviour. Please forgive me. 2 minutes later, by the way, Warlight Graph, he's Brooke Bounds Carter 2.0. He's this and that, whilst yapping on in the background elsewhere. And if that continues on, not only is Justin Roy a Jan Fiorillo 2.0, but also a Beth I crashed my car, multiple personality individual, as in switching and changing all over the place. That is just an observation only, right? Where a person acts one way here, but then elsewhere behind closed doors or in a gated community, says other stuff, and it could be considered darker. But we are going to get through it bit by bit today. Welcome to those that are joining this live premiere. Share your thoughts and reactions in the live chat box located on the right-hand side of the screen. Let me know what you think. Are you shocked or what by today's video and what I'll be sharing with you very shortly? And after watching, if you do have any additional thoughts, points, questions, be sure to drop a comment down below under the video. It will help with spreading awareness so more people get to see the video, and it just spreads awareness of the issues faced in the case and the community and how it runs in parallel to one another. If you want to catch up on recent coverage by me, you'll be able to find the I symbol top right corner up there. Click on it, you get the drop down box with the full playlist to this case. And if you do want to support this channel, there is a PayPal link in the comment section, pinned message by myself. The order of how we'll do things today, We're going to go through the screenshots of the Facebook Messenger DM between Brooke Bounds Carter, her point of view, and an individual that has had quite a few words to say to her. But as well, there's a particular comment also by Justin Roy, a bit of a miscellaneous one, which I guess maybe sets the scene, first of all, which we'll acknowledge too, and I'll give you my raw thoughts there. And we just go through each conversation because there's a lot of it, and don't worry, it is time-stamped with dates, years, etc. So you can get an idea of when it came about, when it was happening, whether it still applies right now, present day. But you know, when you look at the timestamps, you look at the dates, you compare, contrast with what else was going on around that time in life or in the case. You know, if someone is being attacked or in danger, is it at a time of when the case is really hot? Is it at a time of when breaking news or evidence has come about recently in the case? A breakthrough, an update? Does it correlate to a time of when someone had spoken up or did a post online and then shortly afterwards they were silenced or threatened or harassed? I mean, I look at those patterns and acknowledge them myself because my coverage in cases with time, when I've done a video, I've created a finding and some breaking news shortly afterwards, it's led to a bit of resistance. So I can kind of link it together. We'll see if the same happens here today. So let's begin. Hopefully it's clear enough to see on screen. I believe this is a comment on YouTube, probably, well, likely from one of my videos, and if not, it could be elsewhere. A timestamp attached. Yes, of course, it's not quite, you know, showing context, but Justin said at some point, just like nobody was stalking Brooke Bounds Carter or put supposedly a bomb on her truck like she claimed to George Chodin. Talk about being crazy. I have those messages too. Okay, whatever that's about. I think the aim or the concept of what we're getting at here is Justin is highlighting that maybe BBC has come across or said themselves or somebody else did on behalf of them that they're going through harassment and bad things and threats and it's really bad, and Justin may think or knows that it's a load of BS and it's just playing the victim card. But then today we do have evidence and proof to suggest that Brooke Bounds Carter is being, you know, threatened or harassed. Of course, it's important to acknowledge that other people have been harassed and attacked in different ways, regardless of what side you are on, the light side or the dark side, whether it be amongst one another or people within the same groups. See, you know, I've been attacked more so by people from the light side than the dark side, which is kind of ironic. But it can be different for everyone. Justin does say, y'all must think Ellie is very incompetent. I'm pretty sure Caden Pressey or Alicia Pressey are not persons of interest in this case. It's been 20 months and Ellie didn't even want to interview either one of them. And if they are persons of interest, wouldn't it be fair to say Ellie isn't doing their job then? Why not cover that dove hunt that everyone got pissed off about? You do realise they posted pictures of the 5 hunt every year except September 2023. Nobody thinks that's odd. Where's those pictures at? Well, yeah, you could say that's odd. Justin Roy had his, I guess, run-ins with people when it came to the dove hunt in the past, trying to get answers to questions, but the communication with Justin, the communication with whoever dove hunt owners or those that were a part of it at the time, just didn't gel together or cooperate well. So it was a complete mess and didn't really lead to any answers, at least from what I'm aware of. Justin seems to be doing the directing and the finger clicking and pointing as to what should be done next and where you should be going and what you should be covering. But Justin, you say that everyone was pissed off with the dove hunt. Why would everyone be peed off about it? And how do you know everyone was, fed up with it? Because I wasn't. I've looked at it. I've questioned it. But dove hunt, firearms, and for most part of it, people are saying that the firearms aren't connected or linked with Noah's death. We're talking about those that were at the dove hunt and those that later went on to the party. You don't need the dove hunt to be the be-all and end-all to know if someone was at the party. It's more so the party which was after the dove hunt, Friday and Saturday or so, but the actual party itself with Noah Presgrove, Sunday, Monday, when it started heating up. So the dove hunt isn't the be-all and end-all, I would say personally. But I think one thing that stands out even more, which I don't quite get with Justin Roy, because he keeps switching and changing now, even if this is an older comment, let's just put it that way, to mention that Caden and Alicia are not persons of interest in the case. I know Justin's been going on like a broken record about persons of interest. No one is, or this person isn't, that person isn't. But look, when I do my videos, I will refer to someone as a person of interest, not maybe officially by police, but in my mindset, a person of interest, what qualifies them for being one is if they were present at the time of the event taking place or close to, geographically speaking, whether you have got connections, friendships with the victim, you may know something, or have you got friendships, connections with another person who is a person of interest that ticks the boxes under other qualities, etc. So it can be applied. As for outright suspects, I guess no one's been listed as one for that. But people of interest, it's a fair term to use in my opinion. I don't know if other people agree with them. But to say it's been 20 months and LE didn't even want to interview either one of them. Do we really know that LE didn't want to interview them? Or is it more so LE just couldn't be bothered to interview them? Or LE were too tied up to interview them because they were doing other stuff, busy, or interviewing other people, or LE were just lazy? What way do you look at it? Do we actually have hard proof and evidence, Justin, that LE actually didn't want to interview Caden and or Alicia? Because how you can interpret it here in some ways is, if the LE didn't want to interview either of them, what does that mean then? They were never interviewed? And I know some people will say, well, duh, it's obvious they were. Well, like Caden interviewed. We've seen it. We've seen the leaked police interview, etc. So obviously it was done eventually, just not in the early days. But the reason why I question it is because with Justin Roy and his dodgy comments in recent time, Justin previously was grouping Caden Pressey's name with Justin's nephews. That Justin's nephews were never interviewed by police. Never. And in that same sentence mentioned Caden's name too. How delusional can you get? How all over the place can you get? And then when I made it clear and I said, Justin, you know, just like other people, that Caden was interviewed by police. There's a hard evidence of it. We've seen the leaked audio interview. You know, you've seen it yourself. You've come across it in some way, listening in or whatever. And Justin's response after that video was, yeah, I know. Well, if you know, then why in the first place did you group Caden's name with your nephews? If your nephews have never been interviewed by police, but you know Caden has, why are you saying Caden is just like your nephews not being interviewed? It makes no sense whatsoever. This is what can cause confusion and a complete mess. You need to think before you speak or type, you know? Besides that, let's move on to the main part of today's video, and it starts roughly around here. A person called Todd James Keno, August 22nd, 2024 at 8:29 p.m. So it's some time ago now, months have passed by since, but to anyone's knowledge, was much going on in the case August 28th for 2024? I know, I guess I would have been about covering the case at the time. Probably around August, I would have been covering it from the light side and then seeing, the negatives or people talking the negatives of those from the dark side. So that's where I was back then. It would have been to do with the Army page as for where I was learning about the case more so. But let's just read what a person had to say to Brooke Bounds Carter back in 2024 and check to see, was it truly warranted or totally unnecessary? Todd says, your friends killed Noah. Murderers. So jumping in at the deep end with those bold statements made, obviously it's said in private, but still charging on in. Brooke Bounds Carter says, baby, go get a bottle to suck on. And Todd responds, you're going to prison. Now, just basing it off the first few convos exchanged, to say that your friends killed Noah, but then to respond back with that you're going to prison, why should Brooke Bounds Carter, based off this limited context, go to prison when it's her friends that supposedly killed Noah? Shouldn't Todd be saying, those murderers should or will be going to prison, and maybe you yourself, because you've covered for them? I'm just basing it off language and wording. If this person's trying to interpret somebody else, or if there's anyone watching, let me know if the wording by this Todd is very similar, familiar to maybe another character in this case, what we're aware of, right? Is alternative or fake accounts. It's always worth acknowledging. But besides going to prison, Brooke says, perfect, I'll see you there, pumpkin. Okay, so we got the pumpkins back. I mean, in fairness, if this person, Todd, if it was a male, technically speaking, Todd will not be meeting Brooke in the same prison or area because, gender's separated, unless one decides to transition for reasons. Interesting. And then Todd says, how do you people sleep at night? Pure evil. You are an accessory to murder. What's the death penalty in Oklahoma? Asking a question, do they not know themselves, yet making bold points? And Brooke says, you seem to know it all, honey. So go check it out. I like a comfy bed. Well, there we go. So we're focusing on bedding right now. What about the bed sheets? Are they about? Do we need to get some new bed sheets in? Oh no, Strawberry. We need more bed sheets. Gotta roll them up right now. Okay. An accessory to murder as in tagging along, acting on behalf of knowing what could be the truth, but hiding, concealing it, protecting loved ones, protecting friends. You kind of incriminating yourself within it. I do get that. But do we have pure, hard evidence that's what Brooke Bounds Carter has done? Because in terms of in recent time or so, at least to my knowledge, Brooke Bounds Carter has helped with answering some questions along the way in the live chat, and there was a bit of material here and there, how it's come along or passed on from one to another, like the Mikey Lair snap, I believe, and some other bits and bobs. That's actually helped. It's not derailed the case, it's made more sense within it. Of course, it might have countered or gone against some like Caden Pressey, but unfortunately it is what it is. If there is a bit of hard evidence material which may have timestamps too, that's more important than a person's thoughts or words. That's what we start off with. So what are the main problems here? Let's just being very bold, jumping in at the deep end in the moment, not with any hard evidence by Todd, but just simply saying, your friends, murderers, this and that, you're going to prison. How much worse does it get? Okay, so we've got a bit more material here. Todd says, when you die, I'll pee on your grave. So really, it really sets the tone for this degenerative, like infantile piss pot type behaviour. And it sounds very familiar of a certain individual that would be typing these type of, messages, right? See, at the end of the day, I'm just basing it off the concept and the process within a case in general, and maybe members of the general public that could be passionate or claim to care about the case and justice for Noah. They may know more or think that they do and then go after others. There's a way about going around it, and if you act out, you're no better than the so-called murderers. You're not helping the case, are you? Even though you claim to care about the case, you're going against it, being a hypocrite. So if this Todd, whoever behind the account, claims to care for justice and respect in the case, but then at the same time, you call it a form of desecration of a grave of some sort, pissing on somebody's grave when they're dead, sounds a bit over the top in a way. And I know some people would try and justify it and say, yeah, but if they're a bad person or they've done bad things, they deserve it. But should you lower yourself to other people's standards or behaviour? If you claim to be better, if you claim to, have better standards, you're going against it. And when you start going against yourself, you start contradicting yourself, you lower your standards, you become a hypocrite. What else unfolds in the matter? Just a few words, a sentence can say a lot. And I'm seeing that right now. Todd says, "How is that white truck running? I'd be careful. It could implode." So this is possibly implying some kind of bomb threat, or it could mean implode as in break down, the engine blow of some sort, whether it kills you if you're driving behind the wheel or not. But, this particular comment about how's that white truck running, very suggestive, isn't it? Oh, you know about that white truck? Oh yeah, I do. I think you should be careful with it. And then the other person would respond on the receiving end, oh, why is that? Are you implying that if I'm behind it, something bad could happen? And they respond back with, it could implode on itself, which is like a form of an explosion. Not directly saying that this person has planted anything, but to, give a warning or a heads up. I wouldn't if I was you. You best not do that. Well, how would you know? Oh, because you've done something to the vehicle to cause it to possibly implode if the wrong person is behind that wheel. So that particular comment, when you've got Justin here saying, oh, and Brooke Bounds Carter or put supposedly a bomb on her truck like she claimed. Well, we've got screenshots where Brooke Bounds Carter doesn't need to claim anything when it's actually another account highlighting or suggesting it, Justin, right? So we've got a bit more context here, but I'm sure Justin won't agree with it or say, oh, it was probably just a fake account to back up or support what Brooke was getting at. But, with that level of skepticism, you could apply that to really anyone or any conversation in this whole case. And then if you don't trust anything, you're completely lost. Are you not? Todd says, when are you coming home? Who is that fat guy in the red hat? Right down the street. I think Texas does firing squad, since you people are about 100 years behind the times. I just saw a fat guy walk up to your porch. So who is this fat guy? Is it someone related to BBC? I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of implies that this character, Todd, is nearby to where Brooke was at some point, or suggesting that, maybe. Spying, stalking in real life. Bit far-fetched. What's the actual outcome though? What does it actually lead to? These comments, these messages, are means of intimidation, suggestive speaking, to try and inflict some kind of fear or discomfort within Brooke Bounds Carter. To what? To get a confession out of her, to get other people to jump on in, defend her, as in friends, the party goers, the so-called murderers, to say, hey, don't be going after Brooke. We'll speak up. We'll reveal who's responsible. But is this the right way to be going around things, or should the police be handling it themselves? Maybe opposition and Todd would suggest, well, they're not doing enough, they're incompetent, or maybe they're supposedly, allegedly corrupt, so I'm taking matters into my own hand. Is this an example of the typical vigilantism within the case? at times acts of vigilantism from the army page and beyond, the way some would react. See, in 2024, August time, were we dealing with that third group? Were we dealing with that, that tool, a particular person, that tool? Were they about at that point? Because their language and wording links to what's put on here in some ways. The whiny tone, because it's like a person trying to be intimidating. The sense of it feels like that they're trying really hard, So let's continue on. I think Oklahoma should do the same thing. You, Jack, as in Jack Newton, Avery Combs, Carter Combs, that you did to Noah. I am a psychic investigator. Oh, no. Andrea. Oh, no. What are we dealing with here? A psychic investigator? I mean, yeah, in the past, we had other cases before where people said that there were psychic mediums. And to be honest, when I looked at their profile picture, I thought they were more of an extra large rather than a psychic medium. But I don't know. Very interesting. They say, I was hired to bring you down. It just sounds so cringeworthy. Like from a movie, but like a wannabe. It is working, is it? Good thing you don't have a passport. I have your, what does that mean? Screenshot? Or does SS, oh, hold on a minute. I think what this means, SS hashtag equals social security number, which I guess is quite a personal thing. And is it one of those things where if someone else is in possession of it or misuses it, that's illegal? I mean, to say that Brooke does not have a passport, I thought Brooke would, considering, for at least example, in 2023, at the time of Noah's death, Brooke wasn't even in the state of Oklahoma, nowhere near the party, never visited it. Brooke was nowhere even, near to the US or within. Brooke was on vacation in Greece, which is quite far away, and to be over there, you would need a passport. And I guess you would still have one till this day, or even if it expired, some kind of passport which you could, redo and reactivate, at the end of the day. Very interesting. So what this person is suggesting is that Jack, Avery and Carter are responsible for Noah's death, but also Brooke Bounds Carter is, as in the same thing should happen to you lot that happened to Noah. So however Noah Presgrove was murdered, Jack, Avery, Carter and Brooke Bounds Carter should be murdered as well. Well, as a psychic investigator, which sounds a little incompetent, if I be honest with you, because, the psychics, are they quite there? Do the numbers add up? Are we going to shine a crystal ball, shove it up the arse? Are we going to get the shiny rocks out and start talking to them? Yeah, we're going to get close to the rocks, the microphone, deep throat it to try and get some kind of response from someone from the dead? Or should we deal with hard evidence material and some kind of communication and research down the line? I mean, a private investigator makes more sense, but a psychic investigator tasked with bringing down Brooke Bounds Carter, what the hell's going to happen there? You're going to summon loads of ghosts, go against the Ghostbusters, revive, some kind of exorcist, some demonic spirits. There's some kind of deep spiritual warfare. You're going to dig down into the ground of the Native American Indians and summon all those dark presences and forces to start haunting people. Psychological warfare? Oh no, this is really embarrassing. My goodness, this is really cringe-worthy. Hired to bring you down. Who would hire this person? Or is it such as the person that hired me was myself? Oh, I could think of someone there. Very interesting. But, to say that, Brooke is part of an accessory within the case, as in knowing but not revealing and keeping people protected, that Brooke deserves the same outcome as actual murderers do, that doesn't make sense at all. Because, like in reality, when you've got like two people that committed the crime, two other people that watched on, kept quiet, turned a blind eye, cheek, whatever, but they can all get punished, but they get different charges depending on what they've done. Even when two people could be involved in an assault, one person kicks a person 5, 6, 7 times, the other person outright shoots them in the head. One's done for outright murder, and then the other one will be done for, assault and some kind of, I'm not an expert with all that, but charges there. The person that did all the punches will get charged with in some way and serve time for a certain length. But the one that shot once, fired once, will probably get punished much more because they finished the job off. They actually killed the person. So they all get punished, but not in the same way. So for this supposed psychic investigator to say that, all you lot deserve the same outcome as Noah, as in to be murdered, that doesn't sound professional whatsoever. To say that all you lot deserve to pay the price and be arrested for your crimes, that would sound more formal. I don't think a psychic investigator would be talking like this, or at least a professional, they wouldn't be wording it like this. And because they have done, it sounds very amateur, sounds like a wannabe someone. That's what I would say, based off the language and wording. And it's just very incompetent to say, let's just give a scenario if Jack and Avery and Carter were responsible, alleged murderers, they will face a certain price and pay a certain way. But Brooke Bounds Carter, if defending those people and hiding them, keeping them safe, Brooke shouldn't be charged with the same things as the party goers when Brooke wasn't actually there at the time. And that Brooke didn't actually participate in anything at the party at the time because she was in another country. So if it ever came to the court cases and whatnot and being charged, they'd be charged with different things. So the outcomes would be different. But this person wants the same outcome for all people, even though some were more involved than others, supposedly. How incompetent is that? But moving on, the person says, who is that fat man on your porch? He's looking in your windows. He just put something in the brand new white truck. Watch yourself. So, what's this implying? Either the person talking here is talking in third person about themselves, that this individual who refers to a fat man, they're calling themselves fat. And if they're a fat ass, well then maybe it links back to being a psychic, not so much medium, but a psychic extra large investigator. Okay? But whether a person is fat or not, if they're moving, they can be dangerous. And I don't mean being flattened or rolled over like Indiana Jones, that big concrete ball. What I mean is there is someone at some point fiddling with a white truck. Is this person speaking about themselves being responsible, or just aware or alert of somebody else doing it and then seeing it in the moment or being told about it afterwards and saying, yeah, you remember that white truck of yours or what you know of? Well, it could implode on itself. And why exactly? Because there is a fat ass nearby it and they're doing something, they're putting something in the vehicle. Now, if someone's putting something in the vehicle, I hope it's not an Apple AirTag again. Oh, God. That would be typical, wouldn't it? But 2024, September 1st. I'm surprised these conversations didn't come out a bit later. We're going to talk about bombs and stuff. But, as for the actual wording of bombs and threats like that, it's not worded that way. But, how it's been constructed, building that story, as in what's happening in the moment, and you should be careful and you should look out, whether it's true or complete bollocks at the time. A form of intimidation, a form of warning, whether they're speaking on behalf of themselves and the actions that they've already done, or somebody else that they know of. But in terms of Brooke's response, Brooke says, laughing my effing ass off. I think that says, try again, pumpkin. I'm in Mexico or Mexico. Right. And in terms of the location, talking about Texas, but then Oklahoma, who's the person on your porch? Are they actually referring to Mexico, or are they referring to another place, which that's why Brooke says, yeah, I'm not even where you say I am, because I don't see actually any mentions of where the person's supposedly living at, or what Todd believes to be the case. But anyway, Brooke is laughing and crying quite a bit. So you can see, the overall response is, of course, in the moment, Brooke isn't getting down by this person. But I guess if Brooke Bounds Carter has dealt with people like this before in the past or in life, you get used to it. That if it turns out to be empty threats or it's complete incompetence by people trying to act hard or tough and act as if they know more, but they actually know F all, you can just laugh at them as like a joke and treat it as a bit of lightheartedness. When it comes to me, of course, when I've come across threats and all kinds of darkness in the past, and people around me have told me it's okay, brush it off, it doesn't matter, doesn't mean much, but I've always taken it seriously, and might be why I'm still here till this day and why I'm still alive. Maybe the odd experiment where I did listen to other people and I did shut off and I did, think, oh well, never mind, and then something may have gone wrong. So everybody reacts differently to the situations, but this type of behaviour in the case and community, is it really necessary? What good does it actually do? Implying about tampering with a vehicle, putting someone else's life in danger. If you really want justice, why would you be trying to kill Brooke Bounds Carter if you believe that she is responsible? If you wanted justice, you would want her to be in the hands of the police and be sent down for a long time and be locked up in jail and rot away and suffer, but you're going to blow her up? See, the thing is, if you're going to blow Brooke Bounds Carter up, yeah, you think those earrings are going to self-destruct? No, they'll probably still be standing those. And as for the hair, even that as well, probably. Anyway, in response, Todd says, and this is September 1st, 2024 at 9:02 p.m, you better stay in Cabo. There's some people on your porch. So of course, if you're not used to dealing with these type of people, it could make you panic and worry. That's the whole aims and methods behind, the one or group behind it all. That's the emotion they want to inflict upon someone, whether that someone is deserving of it or not, or whether there's a true motive or not. But it just doesn't sound very professional in a way. September 3rd, it continues on. You better stay in Mexico. The feds are in your house. A warrant is out for you. Well, if that really is the case, that there is a warrant out for Brooke Bounds Carter, that's September 3rd, 2024. We're in 2025 now. I think, is it May or end of April? And Brooke Bounds Carter is still walking around as a free person. So it seems like it was a load of BS this, especially when you look back retrospectively now. Anyway, they say, you guys are racist. Oh, no. Is this secretly Miriam behind the account? Miriam, the same individual that called out a person on my channel for being a racist just because they referred to the skin colour of Mikey Lair when trying to work out who was who based off characteristics, which is what it is. And yet Miriam was the one in a live stream to use the N-word out of nowhere. And why exactly? Well, I remember another time Miriam was eating a kebab and half pissed, as they said. So obviously they can't control themselves. Words may slip out. It clearly shows how much of a hypocrite that they were. Typical behaviour, of course, and where they went off to and who they bowed down to, their new master at the time. It says a lot about personality. Birds of a feather flocking together. But what's this all about being racist? That is why you killed Noah. Don't worry, the Mexican cartel will destroy you. I can see where you are staying. I have connections in Cabo. Connections everywhere. Do I have connections in my pockets? Nope, because they've got holes in them. So any connections that go on in, they fall out the other end. Yeah. But anyway, in all seriousness, where's the proof or evidence behind being classified as racist? Why? That's the motive behind killing Noah. Racist. What skin colour was Noah Presgrove? Was he referred to as Caucasian or something? Was Noah Presgrove like Native American or somewhat connected that way? Is that what's being highlighted here, that if Noah was Native American and those that killed Noah, it was because of to do with that? But how would that make sense if it was to do with Native American and crossover connections if, and I'm not 100% certain, if those and partygoers and hosts that were living at the house at the time was on land or reserved to do with Native American land of some sort? I mean, if you live there and you live on that land and there are some family connected through Native Americans of some sort and you're killing another Native American, are you really racist or what? Are you killing your own people? Is it as racially driven like that? It just sounds like we're going a bit too liberal here, a bit too do-good-alike and a bit over the top and delusional and over-emotional, a bit erratic. To jump on about their Mexican cartel will destroy you. Who's going to show up? Juan with a machete or something. Of course, the Mexican cartel and other subgroups can be very dangerous and get on the wrong side or end up in the wrong way. You see the videos online of the cartel as they will use chainsaws to behead people and dull, blunt knives to cut your necks and cut your head off, but in such a slow way that you will moan and scream and gargle on your own blood and upload it and record it, etc. Yeah, but will the Mexican cartel go out of their way to what? Execute Brooke Bounds Carter? It just sounds very far-fetched. Do the Mexican cartel care about Noah Presgrove, or do they care more about their own business and whatever they get up to? I think it'll be the latter. So it's a bit weird, this, to say that I have connections here and then, maybe get them to do something to you. It's like vigilantism. Forget the police, forget the courts. We're just going to outright destroy these people because the same happened to Noah. Right, it does sound reckless, that. And then they say, we tracked you. The feds are in your house right now. So still talking about the feds, which I guess is short for police. So yeah, the police, but by the way, I'm going to secretly get you to be executed. And yeah, the police can still get on with the stuff. It just sounds very incompetent, that, and backwards. But the cartel is watching your ugly white trash family. I see the white truck you used that to kill Noah. Really? So what is this person implying? A hit and run? When considering that was ruled out by police and ruled out early on. But the usage of a vehicle could still have been used in Noah's death, but in what way exactly? If it was the cause of Noah being in the back of the bed of a white pickup truck, and the driver or passenger were completely unawares to Noah being in the back if he had fallen asleep after walking away from the party at 3:30, spent 30 minutes away, absent, sleeping, resting in the back of a bed of a truck. In between that onwards, any Texas boys leaving, well, why would it be Brooke's white truck? I see the white truck, which from earlier conversations seemed to be applied to Brooke's white truck, possibly. If it's Brooke's white truck, then what would it be doing at the party or anywhere near there when Brooke was on holiday? Brooke couldn't have been behind that wheel, could she? Would there been photo evidence and proof that she was on holiday around that time, as you see uploaded on Facebook, or maybe elsewhere there's other photos in between? Why would Brooke's truck be used to kill Noah? And to kill Noah would be more likely some kind of hit and run then. If it's done as an act of killing, murdering someone and using a vehicle. There might be some exceptions of killing someone with a vehicle which doesn't fall under hit and run because other means are used. There's that, which I will acknowledge. But it just sounds so all over the place. I don't know, some people will say, yeah, because this is fake, this is, someone messing about and whatnot. But still need to spread that awareness, because what's happening to Brooke Bounds Carter could well be happening to other people at different times. And when highlighting this, the language and wording, a person can be behind a different account, behind a different name, but sometimes they can't change their personality or their wording or spelling. So if what's on here looks familiar, similar to what you, a viewer, has gone through previously in this case, it could be by the hands of the same person. So that's how you can establish links there. August 28th, 2024, 7:52. Now we know who did it. Tell the Texas boys to watch it. We're coming. You gave me enough evidence. I am an informant. Right, you're an informant. You're a psychic investigator. Were you the first person to land on the moon as well? Do you ride crocodiles or alligators in Florida as well? Yeah? You roll around in mud with pigs too, squeaking along. You're a farmer secretly. You're a part of the military as well, the CIA interrogation program. Did you create the MK Ultra program? You from Area 51, from one of the military bases, from a certain sector? Are you underground? You've got clearance, access levels and entries? Oh, wow. Oh, my God, Todd. Is this Evan Bourne or something? God, dangerous. So with all these roles and specialities, what this person has, it just becomes a bit laughable. And Brooke says, get alive. There we go. But, to go from early on, as in, you're responsible. And this is where we can start applying it without mentioning any names, but you will know. And if you're connected within my head, because I know the odd person will be connected to my head and mind, is that when it comes to looking at how it's worded here and at how it tells a story to what we saw earlier on, the difference between August 28th and before is quite drastic. As in, this Todd individual has changed with who he's blaming or who he knows, but does he apologise for how he worded it in the first place, though? August 22nd, and there's not much of a big jump in between. August 22nd, 2024, and Todd says, your friends killed Noah. And jumping around by saying it's Jack, it's Avery and Carter that are responsible for Noah's death. That's supposedly around August of some sort. But then you got September here. So maybe the odd screenshot is in the wrong order. But regardless, in a very short space of time, whether it looks to be in the same month at least, going from blaming Avery, Carter and Jack being responsible for being murderers, to then this Todd saying, oh, now we know who did it. It's the Texas boys, by the way. Oh, a completely different set of people. And we're coming for them. You still coming for Brooke then? This erratic change in such a small space of time, blaming and jumping the gun, then supposedly getting intel amongst who's really responsible, and then jumping on bandwagon to bandwagon, just like how a certain person did with, at one point, maybe defending Caden Pressey, licking his backside, arse liquor, and then suddenly switching it up and saying, no, I was right all along. He was a liar, Caden. People owe me a big apology in the name of we the people, and so on and so on. Very similar like behaviour here. Just know that in the past of 2022, I came across fake accounts and impersonations with the language and wording was very similar to the said problematic root of all problems causes of people in the case and community. We are seeing that right here. Todd says, I am fighting for justice for Noah Presgrove, a life you helped steal. My life is to destroy you and everyone else guilty. We know where you live and work. We know you are a liar. Watch yourself. And what I will say is here, even if this is all fake and just a joke and a prank or messing about, it's absolutely pathetic for a person to say that they're fighting for justice for Noah Presgrove at the means of handling the case yourself, harming the case legally, wishing murder on the so-called murderers, then switching it up with who's actually responsible, inquiring about possibly planting a bomb on the vehicle to kill and eliminate Brooke Bounds Carter? Is this Osama bin Laden? Is this jihadi Brooke Bounds Carter? Where's the turbine at? What is going on here? Any cables dangling? I think people need to get a grip because there's a few loose wires and some marbles have dropped upon the ground. Who's going to pick them up? I'm sure if the odd person tried picking them up, it might remind them of prison time in the shower. Oh no, no soap this time. Nothing at all to handle. Well, might be the other person doing the handling. So it's really embarrassing, this. And so also mention about connections with the so-called cartel, get them to eliminate you. A person who is truly fighting for justice for Noah Presgrove would go with the wishes of what the family wants, the victim's family, and I guess with the police too, in doing it formally to get the best outcome, to get the true justice, and for the so-called people that are responsible, for them to pay accordingly and in the right way. But this is just acts of vigilantism in erratic ways. Whether it has actually happened or not, the attitudes are completely warped and a complete mess here, which this particular account is a microcosm of, I guess, lots of different people spread about within the community, as we've seen with time. People acting out erratically and going a bit over the top at times. I mean, got to be honest, just for that balance, I know it sounds bad, but in the very early days when emotions were quite raw and tensions were quite high, you did have Robin Smith, Noah's aunt, that wanted to blast and publicly reveal the location where the birthday girl party host was, Avery Howard, in 2023, I think it was, a few months or so after Noah's death, and they were at a brewery, I think it was Oklahoma, somewhere, or Oklahoma City, and the brewery had a separate room for a baby shower. Oh yeah, so blast the location out and collateral damage may come. And whilst maybe Robin wasn't thinking in the moment and she didn't have a proper support in the moment for someone to listen to and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that, it was still a bit reckless and a bit of vigilantism going on there, and more so there within the community of members of the general public. But for someone to say my life is to destroy you and everyone else, it just sounds a bit over the top. We know where you live and work. We know you are a liar. Watch yourself. Is this going to turn into some kind of anonymous Fiverr, AliExpress, Temu paid media coverage in getting someone to do a little fancy, glitzy, glamoury video of anonymous mask behind a computer screen talking in a I don't know, some kind of distorted voice and, distorted voice. Oh, Joyce Burgow, get that world's smallest violin out, start playing it in the background music and say, oh yeah, we're going to reveal this and reveal that. And yeah, here's the actual audio of who killed or who knows who killed who in the case. And some say it actually sounds cropped and it sounds like it's been pieced together and merged from one of Caden's interviews. Hey, there we go. Wow, what a mess. And Brooke says, bring it on, doll. I'll be waiting. Okay? In response, they say, I can see the white truck parked in front of your house now. See the black sedan down the street? You'll see our black sedan drive by 5 times a day. Right from here, I can see your white pickup truck. So I don't know if this person has more of an obsession with Brooke Bounds Carter or that white truck. I mean, does that person want to go behind that white truck and start screwing the exhaust or something? Because it seems a little bit obsessive. We're going to start marrying that vehicle, have a proposal, bring all the trucks down to park up and honk the horns and say, I do? Oh no, the tears are flowing already. Of course, you cut through some of this darkness with lightheartedness, but of course, we'll see if it gets any more serious. You are a lesbian. Well, looks like it's not going to get serious. Never mind. August 28th, 2024, 6:36 p.m. And they say you watch TV as we watch you. So just basically saying that, if you're watching TV, you sat down, you're looking at the screen for some hours, taking it all in, possibly enjoying it as well as a form of entertainment. There's a bit of contradiction to the aims and methods behind what this person is doing, watching you in that sedan driving by multiple times a day. observing and monitoring what maybe as a private investigator would do, but you call yourself a psychic investigator instead. So who are you psychically trying to work out? Are you doing psychic, telepathic? Maybe what Todd is trying to do is telepathically get into the mind of Lan the man with many cowboy hats, and try and figure out what type of material is used in constructing them, and how do I get a saddle free of charge if that's possible. Maybe. But same day, later time, they say, I interviewed Noah's family. Jack and your guilty husband stole his phone and wallet. Are you hiding evidence? Guilty husband, is that Lan, if I'm correct in saying? So now Lan is being dragged in, being accused of stealing Noah's phone and wallet. Well, this is extremely cringe-worthy because the family themselves, the victim's family, has confirmed several times that when it comes to Noah's phones, the one that was at the party and the other one, the old one, which was, I think, left at home, none of Noah's phones ever went missing. They were found, retrieved, and or handed in to police. Whether they've been returned back or not, they were never stolen. As for the wallet, that's unknown of. So for this person to say, I've interviewed Noah's family, if you truly interviewed Noah's family, then you would know that Noah's phone isn't missing, nor was stolen. And Noah's family has never mentioned this person either. So once again, it's really embarrassing, this. They then say, did your son kill Noah? And as in spelt sun, the sun, S-U-N? Are you talking about the solar system? Are you talking about the sun within the sky, burning light upon Noah and burning him and killing him that way? So this person can't even spell. It's a serious situation, moment in time. They're trying to present them in a maybe serious way, and they start misspelling so badly. It's just embarrassing. And they say, are you part of the Democrat underground cabal? Oh, no, not the cabal again. Are we going to whip out the telegrams? Yeah, join this Telegram link now. Here's the phone number. Here's the link. A little private one. Here's a little Dropbox and file along the way. Telegram, dodgy as hell. Yeah, cabal. Oh no, the Telegram is ticking along. The notifications are coming in. JFK rising from the dead once again. He's still alive. Oh my God. It's like the Kenny Veach case all over again with Sean Horlacker. Oh no, I'm getting PTSD already from all that dodgy Telegram stuff, which people were, mumbling on about within the live chats and videos and whatnot elsewhere, and saying, you need to join it right now, man. No, I'm okay. I don't need to do that. But to say that you voted for Hillary, are you part of the treason? You are a lesbian. What, so Brooke Bounds Carter is a lesbian? Okay, so we're learning things, supposedly, every day. Well, I guess if Brooke Bounds Carter is a lesbian, and Justin Roy says, I am Brooke Bounds Carter 2.0, then technically that makes me a lesbian. Oh, no. Sorry, Strawberry. Oh no, I'm suddenly a lesbian. Is my hair going to grow long all of a sudden? Is my luscious red lips going to become so prime and plump? Yeah. You want a taste of these lips, homegirl? Mwah. What is going on? This is embarrassing. To say, your son, who is Brooke Bounds Carter's son, though? Exactly. Very unusual. Very. And to refer to, are you voting for Hillary? Well, doesn't Michael Facecalves have more emails than Hillary Clinton does, with over 300,000? I'm sure Hillary Clinton only had 35,000. Michael Facecalves, over 340,000 or so. Really hitting those numbers. But the more important part here, going all political, it tends to happen at times by certain types of people, erratic, when it's just not necessary. Oh, everything has to be political. Really? Politically correct or what? See, there is a particular someone, and we've made references already, but a particular someone that likes to go political at times, maybe more so on the Facebook pages, as some may say. It's very similar to what we see here. Exactly. As for the lesbian thing, well, that's just kind of random. But besides that, it says, anyway, those white trash girls killed him. Oh, so we've gone from Jack Newton, Avery Carter being responsible for Noah's death, then to the Texas boys being responsible for Noah's death, to now the white trash girls being responsible. What next? Are you going to say that those white trash girls are actually transgender men disguised as aliens and probing one another from time to time? How embarrassing. August 28th, 7:52 p.m. Now we know who did it. Tell the Tex boys to watch. Right, okay, so it looks like some of the screenshots, naughty whoever it was that got them in the wrong order, but at the end of the day, at least we see the timestamps, so we do have the context, even if the screenshots are not quite in the correct order, but how they were passed on, it was how it was, or at least how it's saved, it was in that order by default. But nevertheless, the order, how it appears to be, is Jack, Avery Carter accused, then girls only accused, and then Texas boys accused. So do you really know what you're doing if you keep moving from one person to another? Weird. Continuing on. You'll see our black sedan drive by 5 times. We've seen that one. Sure you can, bud. Sure you can. Come say hi. That's what Brooke says. In response, we are waiting for your husband and son to come home. We know that truck is involved. In what way then, supposedly? Hit and run, because it's been ruled out as that. Brooke says, what truck? In response, Todd says, the white truck parked in front of your house. And Brooke says, laughing my effing ass off, you're such a dumb ass. It's a brand new truck, dumb fuck. Okay. It's one way to put it. And then in response, they say, prove it. Prove it. I can see it from here. Ain't no 2024. I mean, surely one way to check if it's brand new or not, or newer than usual, is just to check the license plate, unless it's a private one, unless it's different in the US. So this so-called expert that seems to know a lot and do a lot is actually wanting proof because they can't find out themselves. And Brooke says, clearly you can't. It's got paper tags, dumb fuck. Okay. Hopefully I don't get punished by YouTube with all these swear words. Naughty. Send us your license and ID. Why would you be sending your license and ID to some random stranger? Or at least, why would some stranger expect or anticipate for like Brooke or anyone to be handing over details like that? We don't really know him. Moving on, in any particular order, the truck is hidden on your land. Do what's right. God's wrath is coming. Oh no. Now I know this person isn't using my actual name because it's just a word used, God's wrath. But if we want to twist the words, you could say warlike wrath is almost like a gift from God. And I'm sure there'll be a few people will be thinking, shut up, you twat, you narcissist. Well, it's only been light-hearted, but, you know, some people do take it serious when I do word some stuff at times. But besides that, August 31st, Carter, the redneck crone. Who's she going to kill this Sunday morn? Oh, no! If you're going to try and word it, at least turn it into a poem. This person can't even word it into a poem. Oh, that's incompetent, that. We're watching you. I mean, how else could it have gone? Carter, the redneck crone. She's standing still in the position prone. Oh, and here we go. I can rhyme at times. But is it really necessary when time flies by? At some times it does yeah. I don't want to get too deep because I'll probably end up like going into like a 1,600 word poem because I am known to do that at times, especially with like the way my eyes can lock on to someone. Exactly. But, you know, to say Carter, are we doing some kind of summoning in the mirror, like Bloody Mary? We're going to summon what Carter, though? Carter Combs or Brooke Bounds Carter? Are we going to summon Brokeback Carter? What are we actually summoning them? Oh, and we've gone from a lesbian to an ugly hoe. Now, at the end of the day, you could be called an ugly hoe, but those gardening equipment and tools. Some can be called a hoe as well there, so... But yeah, very professional, of course. September 1st, now we're jumping on to, you are in so much trouble. Is it firing squad or electric chair in Texas? Well, you'll be executed in Oklahoma. So you don't know whether it's electric or firing squad. Why not just do some research then, if so-called expert? When you die, I'll pee on your grave. Okay, so this seems to be from earlier on. Of course, it's been in the wrong bloody order. Dodgy Facebook. Clearly, you can't. Okay, we're back to that. Send us your license and ID. Can you see us in the black sedan? Bring us your ID. Walk slowly. Walk slowly? What does that mean exactly? Never mind, I just sent an officer to your door. Okay, so police showing up left, right, and centre. And Brooke says, perfect. Tell him to bring me a beer. I know them really well. In response, the person says, this is FBI, not Oklahoma PD. And Brooke says, I'm not in Oklahoma, dumb fuck. Okay. Texas is basically southern Oklahoma, ma'am. Or did your son, spell incorrectly, have a black pickup truck? Keep responding. The FBI needs more from you. The truck is hidden on your land. Oh, we've seen that again. What's this going on about now? Whoever this person is. Mr. Whatever you say that name, however you pronounce it. You know it's a terroristic threat when talking about blowing up somebody's truck. Hate you had to take it there. You were so easy to find and file a report on in your shitty ass little cheap apartment in San Diego. Next time you want to threaten someone, I would make damn sure they don't work in law enforcement. Fucker. Enjoy painting from jail cell. Well, has this person been arrested yet or what? Because in some ways it seems like not. And they respond back with saying, that is not my name, you twat. Excuse me. How dare somebody else, especially from the US, use the T word? Maybe the exception could be Donna Kebab Bond, the twat waffler, frog waffle extraordinaire. I mean, I should have exclusive rights to the T word, to be honest, and maybe the other person as well. Interesting. I know someone said, you don't pronounce it like that, you say twat. I'll say it however I fucking well like, okay? Twathead. Moving on. Response, my dad is a sheriff. Don't you think I know the law? And I live in Hawaii, you ugly cunt. I don't know if I need to censor that word or not. I know the odd person in the background is going to be heavily satisfied if I say it. But I do remember, I think the last time I said that word, I got told off by YouTube. Anyway, whatever free background check you are using is not accurate. Also, I am rich. My aunt is a lawyer. My dad is a sheriff. I did not threaten you. Really? Really? I just pointed out that you purchased a cheap vehicle that has issues. Boy, are you a boy? Oh, okay. So this person who called Brooke Bounds Carter as a lesbian is now being referred to as a boy. So I did a bit of a Justin Roy prediction thing and I actually got it right compared to him about what's going to be next mentioned. What, Hailey says a transgender? That's what's happened. And this person believes that Brooke is ugly. So your kids, you murdered a little boy. Don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. Well, I don't know what type of material is used in the US, but it might not be as good material as the UK for buildings and quality. But besides that, to say you murdered a little boy, Noah Presgrove was not little. Noah Presgrove was fairly tall. And secondly, Noah Presgrove was no little boy. Noah Presgrove was 18 years plus 19 years old, which would make him an adult, a young man. So this person can't even get the descriptions right of this so-called person, which this person wants justice for. And for them to act like a goldfish, as in, I did no wrong, I said nothing bad, I didn't threaten anyone. Well, we've documented it all today, and there are instances of threatening behaviour. For sure. And obviously foul language too, which may not be necessary. But let's just continue on because it doesn't get any better, even though it might be out of sync. It's mentioned here, oh, you people are so evil, God will destroy you and your family, and Avery and Jack, you're all done. I mean, do religious people think quite like this, or is it a bit recklessly? Probably. September 3rd, 2024. So, Jack's dad effed underage girls, supposedly, but this person's stating it as like a fact. You know, words like this can obviously destroy people's lives, and if they're innocent, it's kind of an unfair situation. Jack's dad is in Caleb. I mean, the wording here is very similar to the rumours and the erratic nature of people labelling Caleb being at the party and being with maybe Avery as an example, and people rolled with it without any hard evidence at the time. This person, Todd, says, and Noah knew about it. You guys killed Noah because of that, because of secrets. Yes, but Todd, you were the one that mentioned the whole reason behind Noah's death was down to racism. Now it's down to underage people and people screwing one another. Yeah, all over the place. You guys killed Noah. Jack's paedophile secrets were not revealed, I see now. So you are not part of this cover-up. You people are disgusting. And then they start calling Brooke Bounds Carter, saying, you are a paedophile too. You are a rat. You people F younger people. You're going, you ugly cunt. You evil paedophile. It's just so childish, this language, but also very damaging as well, the wording. Of course, to someone that may be hardened may see this and think, so what? Whatever, blah, 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 BS, just all noise. But, you know, other people see all these words and labels aimed at them, it could wear them down. And if the general public, because at times some of the general public can be dumb enough to fall for it, but if they saw these comments by this erratic, unstable person, they would probably nod their heads and go along with it and believe in it, wouldn't they? Todd says, Jack's dad effed teenager. That's why you killed Noah. You people are evil. Right. The terroristic threat thing. Yeah, we saw that bit before. What else do we have? Cheap vehicle that had issues. Boy, are you ugly. Okay, and then Brooke says, laughing my effing ass off. A lot of arses are being left off. Is there anything left behind? You lie. Even have your mom's information, brother's information, sister's information. I'm sure she would be so embarrassed if Ellie showed up to her school over your dumb ass. Get a life, loser. And their response is, oh yeah, I don't have a brother and my mom is dead. I hope you didn't pay to dig up dirt on me. Looks like you need to get a life. I know every cop on, is that Maui? I don't even know you'd say that. They're just as corrupt as the Texas cops. Only difference is, they're smarter on Maui. Apparently people in Texas are idiots. You can't even spell my name. Todd, to refer to calling someone because they can't spell their name as an idiot, and yet you, Todd, can't even spell son, as in Brooke's son, S-O-N. You say S-U-N? Really? I don't think you're in a position to be talking that. Moving on. I hope you laugh on death row. Well, that's what's kind of funny, because Todd says, I hope you laugh on death row, but also mentions an earlier point in the conversation what we looked at, as in you, Brooke, and the others need to end up the same way Noah did, as in being murdered. And if you're murdered, well, you're not going to be ending up on death row, are you? You're not going to even get to that point. And yet Todd is wishing both outcomes on Brooke. You can't have both outcomes. It's not possible. So this person doesn't really know what they're talking about. And Brooke says, I sure will, doll. And in response, I've seen videos of them, partygoers? And the Combs girls arguing about killing him? I know more than you, apparently. This person knows more than Brooke, yet can't really figure out a license plate of some sort or the date of a vehicle. Oh, bloody hell. But the thing is, this so-called video, at least, of the Combs girls arguing, I guess that is a reference to the party itself and the front porch way. What actually happened with that? What was actually said? What went down? I wonder. Brooke says, sure, you have. And in response, they say, you can delete TikTok videos and text, but it's still out there. And they tracked Jack's phone, dumping Noah's body. An hour before he found the body, he changed his story 7 times. Detectives and the FBI are watching all of you. TikTok. Ha, you rednecks are so stupid. It's not professional, any of the language used. And in response, Brooke says, sounds good, doll. Send them my way. I'll be waiting on the porch with cookies. Oh my God, Brooke Bounds Carter with some cookies. Are they homemade? My God, stop. Beauty Gurumo is going to come along and eat them all up. And then petty ass Raph isn't going to have any. Goodness gracious. Anyway, besides some cookies and other equipment, I mean, what we've seen today, yes, you could consider ridiculous and crazy, but this is what goes on in the background, for example, in this case. After looking at those comments and stuff, maybe some of you are a bit surprised or shocked and others are thinking, oh, really? Well, it sounds similar to who it could be. Of course, as a heads up, just be careful with how we interpret people. That's why I didn't directly mention lots of names today, as you know. You apply that yourself, just protect yourself and go from there. But we can kind of guess and work out in our heads who it could link to or who it was at a time, as well, based off the dates and what was going on for different people at the time. But, you know, within those words and lines, some of it, or most of it being very silly and erratic and all over the place, but within some of it, more direct points and more direct threats, or at least how you could interpret it that way. And you got to take them seriously, regardless of how incompetent the person could be. An incompetent but reckless person can still be dangerous, right? Anyone can be dangerous. If they got it in for you, or for some reason they're going to be driven or motivated to do something bad, even if they do claim to care for justice, their actions and ways go against the act of, or the means of justice, so it's a bit of hypocritical. But, you know, there are other people in this case and community that claim to care for Noah and want justice, but their actions, their aims, methods and motives are far from it, and it's embarrassing. So that does need to be acknowledged. In regard to Justin Roy hopping about there, I'd be interested to see what Justin thinks of these screenshots. I'm sure maybe along the lines of maybe, oh, it's fake, it's not real. Somebody created it to have a go at Brooke, but make it up to put the agenda across to say, hey, look, Brooke's a victim, or to this and that. But, you know, that's just a prediction, what I may think, as in how someone could react at times. But I do believe, from what I've seen in recent time, Justin Roy has sided with the odd particular person here and there, which was very interesting. And all I would say is, at times when people, after all that's happened, when they start siding with another person who is clearly disease-ridden in attitude and behaviour, you kind of become a part of that, or maybe it shows that you are that too, or may have always have been, dependent. Kind of like the term of the birds together, flock together, fly together, flock together, whatever. But, you know, it's not a good look on Justin Roy to be associating himself with certain people out there with how they have acted and so much more. I do understand that at times, from screenshots and how you may interpret it, Justin Roy has been threatened and death threats and bad things going on, but it's not like a case can be provided there when Justin's like, oh, here's a screenshot and it's disappeared, magic trick. Here's a screenshot, oh, unsent, deleted. Right, what good does that do? Here's a screenshot. Look, Raph, hey, Raph, I'm being harassed. Raph, I'm being threatened, death threats. Brooke Bounds Carter says, gonna shoot me on sight, hey. And at least how I interpreted it was, yes, in terms of how you interpret the wording, it can come across as a death threat, but amongst friends, as in Brooke Bounds Carter talking to whoever privately, probably going to be, well, couldn't be more so a joke, and with the usage of emojis as well. If you're an outsider, looking at people talking behind your back, you probably see it in a darker way, and that does make sense. But like for Justin to say, yeah, here's a screenshot, and here's that, and what? Oh, don't use it, keep it private. Okay. And then later, Justin could be like, well, why are you not acknowledging this? Why are you not acknowledging that? Well, you say don't cover it, and then you say, why am I not covering it? Because you said not to cover it. It's weird. I'm just filling in the gaps here as to what likely will happen after this video has been uploaded and the responses by people. I do tend to kind of predict at times the language and the dialogue. It does bore me, to be honest, because Quite a few humans can be a little bit predictable, unfortunately. But besides that, you know, I know some people go on in the community in a light-hearted way at times saying, yeah, there's people, there's characters out there, the way they act and behave and what they're doing more so in recent time, very naughty behaviour. Is it in terms of the level of naughty behaviour what I would deem as? Well, of course, when it comes to my methods and treatments, I don't think everyone is quite deserving of it. I mean, if someone to talk about the big black belt, I don't think some people are deserving of it, because as we know, if it is used on some, likely there's higher chances that they will enjoy it. And it's not meant for pleasure, not in those circumstances. So, and it might remind them of other things as well. And what good does that do? Anyway, that aside, I pretty much summarised it today. For all the wackiness and craziness what you see there, that is just a person or a situation which may have happened to many others in the case and community. It kind of shows what goes on in the background and what people have to deal with. And is it exactly necessary? No. Is it kind of childish? Pretty much. Is there a level of severity and seriousness behind some of it that's meant as like the threats? You never know. You can't just brush off your shoulders. You got to acknowledge it to some extent. We'll see what happens next. Of course, 2024, most of that was, if not all. Has it continued since? Who knows? If there's any blanks that needs to be filled in, feel free. If you've had similar encounters and situations, feel free to leave a point below. I know during the time of the Vanessa Salazar situation, elsewhere, some people were receiving spam messages from default accounts saying, like, giving warnings and threats and all of that. Didn't lead to anything, but interesting how there's these waves of behaviour. Of course, the simplest, easiest way is if none of it actually happens in the first place, you know? Because why does it actually have to happen to begin with? What does it actually lead to? Just like these aims and methods of like what we've seen today. What does it lead to? Because 2025 onwards, Brooke Bounds Carter still around, still commenting. Not much has happened. So any threats or claims of, oh, you're going to be arrested, you're going to be taken away, and this and that, it's not happened to them. So it just seems like messing about type behaviour. But of course, even stuff like that, if you ignore it or not, it can clog up in a case or community. It can slow down the progress. Might cause distractions too with time. It's interesting, I wonder if any creators that were once covering this case that have stepped back since, did any of them receive threats, harassment, and then it put them off and then they walked away? Who knows? You never know. But either way, there'll be still some videos to come. I hope you found this one somewhat interesting, and it just shines light on certain themes in the community with people associated with the case, or those that put themselves within the case or put the foot in the door within the community and talk. My name's Raf. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a comment below. Full playlist top right. And yeah, goodbye for now.